What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I figured it would be a pretty good idea to do a Cedar Point roller coaster tier list. Listed down here is every single Cedar Point roller coaster, all 17 of them, even the kid coasters. And yes, I am including Top Throw Dragster in this because it is technically not defunct, it is just standing but not operating. But before we get into the tier list, I just want to say, if you are not already, subscribe to the channel. And if you are from TikTok, let me know in the comments. I will try to respond to as many of you as I can. Alright, so without further ado, I'm going to start with the kid coasters first. Starting off, I don't even know if you would consider this a roller coaster. I personally don't, but Cedar Point does, so I included it. But Pipe Scream is an F. It is a terrible ride that should have never been made. Every time I ride Pipe Scream, I get nauseous and sick. So in saying that, we're going to start off by putting Pipe Scream into the F category. Now, Wilderness Run, for a kid coaster, I'm going to put it in D. I mean, it's not much. It goes, I think, 6 miles an hour, goes through a couple hills. But yeah, I mean, it's a kid roller coaster. You can't really rank it much higher than probably C. But that's where I'm going to put Woodstock Express, just because it is a little more intense than Wilderness Run. Overall, as a kid coaster, Woodstock Express is pretty good. Now, in saying that, it's probably going to be at the back end of the C, but the kid coasters, I wouldn't rank them much higher than C. Alright, so now we're moving on to the big roller coasters. Starting off with Blue Streak, I'm going to put this one in the C category. It was much more rough back a few years ago, but probably for the last couple of years, I've had some good rides on Blue Streak. It might be because I sit in the front row every single time, but it's a lot less rough than I remember it being when I was a kid, about like 10 years ago or so. So it goes in C. Cedar Creek Mine Ride, D. It's pretty boring, and it's pretty rough. I mean, going through most of the turns on this ride, you get thrown into either someone or someone gets thrown into you, and overall, it's just not comfortable. It's a good family ride. I don't even know if you would say it's good, but yeah, Cedar Creek Mine Ride gets in the D tier for me. Corkscrew, I'm stuck either between C or D in this category. Do we put it in? I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it at the front of D. If you sit in the front row of Corkscrew and put your head back the entire ride, you will be fine. You won't have any head banging whatsoever. You have a little bit going through the corkscrews, but that's about it. Anywhere else on the ride, you're probably going to walk off that ride having a concussion. But in my opinion, if you get the front row, then it might even be C. But overall, Corkscrew is probably in the D tier. I'm going to put Gatekeeper. I'm going to put it in A. No, I'm gonna put it in B. More so because when you go down the first hill of Gatekeeper, it rattles a lot. The inversions are cool, but once you get to the brake run, it gets really boring after that. And once you get out of the first hill and into the Inelman loop, then it becomes a pretty smooth ride from there. But due to the fact that it is pretty boring at the end and the rattle going down the first hill, I'm gonna have to put it in B. I'm gonna put Gemini in the C. I don't think Gemini is that bad of a ride. I have a lot of fun whenever I ride Gemini. Yes, it can be a little rough if you're sitting in the wrong row, but if you sit in the middle row of a train, then it shouldn't really be that rough for you. I think the dueling aspect adds a lot of fun to this ride as well. One of the only negatives about this ride is when you go into the final brake run, it just slams on the brakes, goes on that brake run, and comes screeching to a halt really quickly. But overall, I think Gemini is a C tier roller coaster. It's not bad, but it's also not one of the best at the park. Iron Dragon, I'm gonna put it in C also. I like Iron Dragon. It's smooth, it's fun. The only thing that it's got lacking is that it is pretty boring. I mean, it's a family roller coaster. It's an aero suspended coaster. That's what they normally do. Yeah, it doesn't go that high, doesn't go that fast, but it is pretty fun in my opinion. But Iron Dragon will go in the C tier. On to Maverick, I'm gonna put it in S tier. Maverick is one of the best roller coasters I've ever ridden. Not the best. That is another roller coaster on this tier list. But I think that everyone can mostly agree that Maverick is probably one of the best roller coasters in the United States. This coaster has a lot of ejector air time, which is really fun. It has a launch, a 95-degree drop, and it whips you from turn to turn. So I think Maverick is well deserving of the S tier. On to Millennium Force, the first ever Giga coaster. I'm going to put it in A tier. If I would have done this maybe 5 years ago or so, Millennium Force probably would have been in the S tier. But since Steel Vengeance is there and I've gotten to ride Maverick a lot more, don't get me wrong, going really fast and going really high up in the air is really fun. But all Millennium Force really is just overbank turns and floater airtime. Now that doesn't mean that it should be frowned upon. Millennium Force is a great roller coaster, but compared to some of the other roller coasters that are at Cedar Point, I think Millennium Force is somewhere between the 4 ranking for me. But yeah, Millennium Force A tier, and Raptor is also going to go in A tier for me. Raptor is very intense, and I really like intense roller coasters. While it may not be the smoothest ride at the park, I still believe that Raptor is a top 5 roller coaster at Cedar Point. I just have a lot of fun riding Raptor. That's pretty much my explanation why I'm putting it in A tier. On to Rougarou. I'm going to put it in the beginning of C. If you're not sitting in the front row, Rougarou tends to be pretty rough. I just really don't see the appeal of riding Rougarou whenever I go to Cedar Point, just because of that factor. And maybe because I've gotten stuck on the brake run in the pouring down rain on it, not once, but 2 times. Yeah, maybe I just have a bad relationship with Rougarou. I don't know. I see a lot of people that like Rougarou, and hey, they're entitled to their opinion. But in my opinion, I think Rougarou is a C tier roller coaster. On to Steel Vengeance. I'm going to put it in S tier. I don't think that's much of a debate. Steel Vengeance is highly regarded as the best roller coaster in the entire world, or one of the best roller coasters in the world. So I'm not going to take too much time to explain my reasoning here. On to Magnum. I'm going to put Magnum in B tier. I get people say that it's rough, yes, but it's just one of those rides that if it has a short line, I will marathon it. Really, the only part that I can see of Magnum being pretty rough is when it goes through the last set of bunny hills at the end. And yeah, it does hurt your thighs a lot. Honestly, just sit in the middle row of a car. If you sit in the front or back row of a car, then it's going to destroy your thighs. But if you sit in the middle row, I found out that it's not too bad. But yeah, the ejector airtime hills at the end of Magnum, I like a lot, even though they destroy my thighs. Magnum's usually the first ride I ride at Cedar Point because I tend to enter in the back gate. But yeah, Magnum is a B tier roller coaster for me. Top throw dragster. I'm gonna put in. Man, I want to put it in A, but I feel like I should put it in B. You know, yeah, I'm gonna put it in B. I mean, it's just too short. If it was a longer ride, it would absolutely be an A tier. But due to it only being 16 or 17 seconds long, I mean, that really just kills it for me. The launch is great, and then, you know, you go up 120 miles an hour, come back down 120 miles an hour. That's really fun, but it's over pretty much with the snap of a finger. But yeah, if Top Throw Dragster was longer, then it would definitely be higher on this tier list, but I have to put it in B just because of that. And last but not least is Val Raven. I'm going to put Val Raven in B. Other than the drop, it's pretty boring, I'm going to be honest. When you're up on top of Val Raven, you get a great view of Lake Erie. The other cool thing is the, what would you call it, the third inversion. But other than that, Val Raven, in my opinion, is nothing too special. But that's pretty much how all dive coasters are, in my opinion. To recap, in F tier, I have Steel Vengeance and Maverick. In A tier, I have Millennium Force and Raptor. In B tier, I have Dragster, Gatekeeper, Val Raven, and Magnum. In C tier, I have Rougarou, Gemini, Blue Streak, Iron Dragon, and Woodstock Express. Mainly because, I mean, it's a kid coaster, and it's pretty good for a kid coaster. So based on what it is, I think C tier is well deserving. In D tier, I have Corkscrew, Mine Ride, and Wilderness Run. And in F tier is Pipe Scream. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And once again, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And if you haven't already, go follow my TikTok. The link to that will be in the description. But yeah, thank you for watching. And until next time, take it easy.